Hi, I'm Brenda.
And I'm Mac,
Welcome to Girl Logic,
where if it makes sense to us,
it just makes sense.
We're getting damn good at that. So good.
What, 3 in and we're already in sync?
What, third time's a charm?
Oh, yeah. Well, the heat wave is fun so far. I'm sure we're surviving.
It's been rough. I have my engagement shoot tomorrow.
Nice.
And it is in the middle of a heat wave. It's like in the 90s.
Is it indoors or outdoors?
Outdoors. Ooh. But it's starting at like 6 p.m. So hopefully...
Okay. That's manageable.
But also like, you're going to do your hair, you're going to do your makeup, you're going to take a bunch of pictures. I know people can edit beautifully, but I wish they didn't have to, you know? I hope to not see a damn sweat bead on me.
Oh, yeah.
In any of those pictures. And also I'm wearing a long sleeve dress. It's a shorter dress, but it's long sleeve.
Right.
So.
That'll be fun. I think 6 will be a good enough time. But
it's worse for Anthony. I have him in a suit, so
he'll be nice and hot.
Yeah. So I mean, it could be worse. But yeah, how was your weekend?
It was good. I mean, and you were just. I mean, speaking of engagements and weddings, you were just at one this weekend.
Yeah. I went to a wedding for my best friend from high school. Yeah, I've known her since elementary school. We grew up together, but I think like we were definitely closest in high school. So it was really cool. I think it'll be kind of one of the only high schooler, like longtime friends weddings I'll be at. And it was beautiful. It was really quaint. It was at a winery actually pretty close to here. It was like 20 minutes from our house.
Oh, that's nice.
But it was so funny because it's a friend that I had obviously all through high school. Then we went different directions for college. And then, you know, life just takes you whatever direction takes you. We're living in 2 completely different states like most of the time. So I haven't really seen her much, but it was great to see her, like all those like feelings came back, you know, like, oh my God, I love this person so much. And like I just started thinking about memories and stuff. And so I'm like, weddings just do this to me all the time. Crying
I know,
constantly and sentimental and nostalgic.
What part of the wedding gets you the most?
Obviously the ceremony. Theirs was like kind of a non-religious ceremony, so it was very short. So like the whole thing, but the whole thing wasn't, you know, super long. But what kicked it off was when the first couple family members come out, and it was her Nana came out.
Oh.
And that got me because like, I don't know, growing up, like your friends you have when you're younger, like their grandparents are your grandparents to an extent. Like, not that we had a very deep connection, but I mean, you call them Nana, you call them Gram, you call them whatever they call them. Yeah. So seeing her and just like, one, how amazing it is that she's still there, because then, you know, I tap into my own, like, I won't have that. But just seeing like the love and the joy of like the family. I always like put myself in everybody's shoes, like watching her mom watch her and her dad come down the aisle, like, it just kills me. And her brother was the officiant, so it was really
that's so cute.
It was really, really cute. But it's funny because I'm sitting there in all my feelings, and Anthony, who is my +1 forever now, sitting next to me, and he goes, I never even met these people. Why are we even here?
What are we doing?
And I was like, just shh. Like, they're very important to me. You don't understand. And he's like, I don't know them. And it's funny because, I mean, I don't really know numbers total, but a little over 100. Like, it was pretty.
That's a big. I feel like that's.
You'd think it was big, but honestly, it felt so small. Like, there was 10-ish tables.
When you put it down into
ceremony-wise, like, it wasn't in a church, so they only set up for the people that are there. I think there was 5 rows. So I was like,
that's crazy.
Yeah. So it felt so intimate.
Smaller.
Yeah. So he was like, what? Must be pretty important. Like, I was like,
I don't think
that, at least in the back row, but and you know, like, I knew a decent amount of people there. Like, there were people from
Were there a lot of people from high school that you recognized?
A handful. Yeah. So the bride and the groom actually both went to my high school. The groom was a little younger.
Nice.
So like, there were some people that I recognized just from like that. They were closer to my brother's age, but yeah, it was really a neat experience. Mm-hmm. So I'm like still kind of reeling in the nostalgia of it all, but also being in the wedding planning process, I'm like hyper aware. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I'm sure you're taking
these are the
note of-
florals. This how they set this up. I'm looking at their table numbers. I'm paying attention to the things the bride has thought about for a year and a half, and nobody cares about.
Nobody else is thinking about
I'm
it.
there noting everything. And
You're
I'm
like, I like
is
this. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I want to do this.
Right. Yep. So yeah, it was great. It was pretty short, and we ended up not going to the after party or anything, but it was good. So, and now they've actually moved back to our area.
Oh, really?
So they don't know this yet, but I kind of want them to meet my
Oh,
friends because I feel like they'd
That's
make a
cool.
good mix with some of us.
with
So,
all of them.
yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah, so that's in the works. They don't know. So if they ever
We're just
listen,
planning for them.
but yeah, so it was good. It was good. Brought back a lot of feelings and like had me reeling kind of in thinking about high school because I went back through like pictures and stuff then of us because I made a little post and things and I was just like, this is neat. But
yeah.
also weird.
Well, it's almost like remembering past versions of yourself and like taking that trip back to memory. You know what I'm trying to say. The trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that is crazy. There are certain times when, I mean, that's actually happened to me not too many times, but because of Chuck, like he has some high school friends and we went to the same high school.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing, like going to weddings where it kind of feels like a high school reunion sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, these people knew a totally different version of me.
Right.
And now I'm so different, but like their memory of me is probably still
But like our
something
interactions
else.
feel so familiar.
Yeah.
I was having that too. I was dancing with a lot of the girls that were there. We knew through sports too. So like we all played field hockey together. But we were dancing at one point in the night and I forget the one girl was like, oh, I love these throwbacks or whatever. And I was like, I feel like I'm at homecoming again. But like a better version. Like
Yes.
I didn't say this in the moment, but like, you know, they did know such a different version of me. And like, we're always our worst critic, but like maybe some of my least favorite versions of me, honestly.
Same
Like,
for me.
I'd love to be your friend now. I think you'd like me a lot more. That
Yeah.
would be conceited
I've
to
grown
say.
a lot.
Yeah, I'm decent. And I wasn't bad then, but like, you know, you live and you learn. You have very little awareness at that time. But yeah, I was just like, oh my God, I would have loved to maintain these relationships and would have loved to see the phases of life that they went through, like in between.
Yes.
Because it's been, I mean, what am I now? I'll be 27 this month.
Years.
But
In a few days, no.
in a couple days.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, I think it's from about like, now this is just me guessing, broad range, 10 to 25 I think is when you experience the most phases of life in a like concentrated amount of time.
Yes.
You have moved
very
through
short.
so many different things, right? Like you go through, you know, school is one thing, high school, the end of it, you know, you change a lot in high school. You learn to drive, you get more freedom, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But then your college and then your early adult life and then your start of engagements, weddings, babies,
Yes,
like the
all of
phase that we're
that.
in now, that's when life actually slows down.
Yes. No,
So
I agree.
like these are people I knew when I was 18. I'm now almost 10 years later.
It's crazy to think about.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And to think like, okay, how much I've experienced in that amount of time.
right.
And they have same amount, if not more, but completely different. So
yes.
like,
It's weird to think. Like, I don't even. It's so true because if you think about it, you're between 10 and 25. Just even going from elementary school to middle school to high school, each one of those being such a huge dramatic change of being like, oh, elementary school, I'm just a baby. Middle school being like, oh, I feel like I'm cool now.
Yeah.
I'm starting to be able to do things for myself. High school, being able to drive. Now suddenly your world expands and you're like, wow.
yeah.
Well, you don't want to drive me? I can drive myself now.
You now have a job because you can get there.
You need to get a job because
Yeah.
you want a car. You want money to do stuff.
Well, yeah, you're no longer just like a student. You've now
No.
become an employee. You might be an athlete. Like there's like, your titles have grown.
Yes. And then
Yeah.
once you hit college, it's like now you're living alone.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. Well, yeah, to an extent. But now it's like, wow, you have to do your dishes. Like,
The
I know,
responsibility.
yes, like you have to do your laundry. You have to clean your room. You have to do your homework. You have to whatever else thing you have to do. be a good human and call your mom and dad.
Right,
here and
right.
there.
Check in because now you
Yeah.
left them and, you know, they're lonely.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a little side note too is something that's so interesting. So my family is Mexican. Like my grandparents, my whole family is Mexican, and we came here through my dad's work and everything. But the amount of growth that you experience in the US, I feel like is so vast compared to there. In Mexico, you will live with your parents until you get married.
Well, and
essentially.
I think that's consistent with a lot of other countries. I think we're one of the only ones that really rushes the get out on your own. Yeah.
So it's weird to think like my cousins are, I don't know, 20-ish, and they still are just at home.
Yeah.
And thinking back, I think the last time I lived at home was really before college.
Right.
And it's just crazy to think that. I mean, it really does make you grow up very quickly. I mean, because you hit the hurdles and you have to figure out how to get through it by yourself.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's so different, right? And I'm kind of just making assumptions because I don't share that same culture. But, like, you stay home longer, but you also have had adult responsibilities sooner, I think. Like, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times kids are put in a role where they take care of their elders sooner.
Yes.
So, like, you are picking up on those things at a different rate. Whereas, at least I think, like, American culture, we're pretty babied until we get to college, and then you just become your own person and you're alone.
Right.
Whereas in others, it's like you're a member of this pack.
Yes.
You
like you're
operate-
supporting the whole unit, really. Yeah. It's interesting. I think it's hard to tell because I'm not there often enough, but there are some changes I feel like that are happening over there where people aren't, let's just say they should go through the American experience of just being like, okay, you're on your own, because they're not helping or they're just immature.
Right, and then that's where you get your people that feel that sense of entitlement once they're out. Like, everything's been done for me. This is how the world works.
Right.
Why are you not doing for me what I have had done?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's weird to compare the two, but it's, again, back to just having so many different versions of yourself. Do you feel like there's anything that you regret or you would have done differently? We can do high school and then we can do college, because I feel like those are two big ones.
Honestly, like, weird answer, and it's a yes and a no at the same time. Like,
Right.
there's a lot, like, so much that I wish I could have done differently with my knowledge and experiences now. Like, I really honestly would love to never have dated until out of college. Like, I think realistically it would have been probably the best move for me to just, men
Be
don't
single.
exist and you don't need to bother with them. There's nothing that's going to benefit you.
It makes all the adults so reasonable, the ones that were like, you're not allowed to date
but
until
you'll
blank.
never believe
You
it.
won't until you're this age.
Yeah, you got to make your own mistakes. But at the same time, everything I've done has brought me to this moment. And if I didn't do any of that stuff, if I never did, like, I wouldn't be who I am. So, like, I have that to thank, and I have to remind myself of that when I, to look at it from a positive lens. Because, like, there's so much I would have changed. So, like, even friendships, like, I would have handled stuff differently, conversations differently, prioritized people differently with my awareness now. But now I guess I needed that to grow, to become
to be able
who
to
I
be
am.
here. Yeah.
And to continue to grow. Like, I don't know. I'm not perfect by any means at this point in time. I'd like to think that I've come a long way. But, who I was yesterday is not who I am today. It's not who I'm going to be tomorrow. Like, it's an ever-changing, you hope.
Yes.
We are all ever-changing and
Hopefully
evolving.
changing
So,
in a good way.
yeah. So, like, tying back to that wedding, like, seeing people I haven't seen in forever, like, part of me has this little urge to, like, text them and be like, do you want to be friends again?
Right.
Not that we weren't, but, like, you just fall off on things. And I don't know. And okay, random kind of tangent a little bit, but, like, someone I had spent time with at the wedding had responded to my story then the next day, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is the start of reconnecting. Like,
Yes.
this person was great. I loved talking to them all night. Like, this was so fun and so awesome. well, I go click their Instagram. I'm not following them anymore. Because
really?
I do purges every now and again where I try to clear out anything that's just not prevalent at the time. Not like saying they're not important, not saying they're not interesting, not saying I don't honestly know specifically this person. I have no clue why.
What the decision
what I did,
factors
but
were,
I did
yeah.
I've done it so many times, and I still do. A lot of times for influencers more than anything, but I was like, oh, I gotta awkwardly click that.
And then they'll get
follow
a
back
no.
button. So I like clicked it and cringed and like closed it out, like as if it's gonna help me. But it's just funny because like some phase of my life, I was like, oh, you know, I'll probably never see this person again. This is goodbye.
It's whatever.
Like,
unfollow.
Well, and then the hoarder in me is like, never do it again now.
Yeah.
Because you might have
You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so strange. So anyways, back to your question. Would I change? Yeah, I probably wouldn't date as much or make that much time for romantic relationships. I think prioritizing friendships would have been the better thing to do. I also have the what if of like, what if I tried harder in school, or what if I changed my direction I wanted to go in, like career wise, because I've always been kind of set on where I wanted to be. But then again, you know, I could have ended up more stressed out and miserable. So I
might as well do something.
I'm always
you
curious.
Enjoyed.
I would love to like visit myself in an alternate universe and see if she's cooler, richer, smarter, prettier, you know, any of those things. But yeah, but how about you? Would you change anything?
Yeah, that's
what do you think about even if you wouldn't change it? What might be?
I feel similarly in the sense that those mistakes are what allow us to be this new version of ourselves. And I don't know if there's anything I would have changed. I mean, tying in some astrology here, I am a Libra, and my people-pleasing tendencies were definitely very high back then. So I would just go along with anything, anyone. I would never want to upset anybody. I wouldn't want to start any type of conflict. And I think that's what I would change mostly, is just like actually speaking, like just saying what I actually meant, instead of just being like, oh, I'm okay with this, when deep down I wasn't okay with it. Whether that was things in friendships that I was not okay with, like feeling like I was deprioritized and just being like, oh, whatever, like this is fine, I'm gonna go along with it. Whether it was in relationships where I was like, oh yeah, this is, you know, a horrible relationship, but I'll stay in it because, you know, this is fine.
Yeah.
I think it's that, but it's through that process that's kind of where you learn to listen to yourself, but also find your voice in it and like start developing the strength to actually speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the biggest one for me, I think.
Question for you.
Yeah.
And it's more to see if I'm alone in this thought or not. So just be honest. I think like a lot of the things about myself I didn't like in high school specifically was I saw a lot of things as competition, just with other people. And I think you're raised to think that, right? You want to be top of your class. You want to be captain of the teams. You want to be president of the clubs. Like, so that is like driven into, especially in high schools, because they're like, be the best person you can be so that colleges want you, so that you can be successful. So even just talking in this sentence, I'm making more sense of it and kind of giving myself more grace. But like, anytime something happened for other people, my first reaction wasn't celebrate the success. Tie back to girls girl. This is not a girls girl thing to do, but this is where I was in life. I saw it as, what are you going to do now? Like, you have to be better. This person's now.
Yeah, like, what about you? What are you going to show? What do you have to show for all of this now?
Right.
Or like, how are you going to keep up?
Right.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there was pieces of that in high school, but I think for me it was mostly appearance based. I think I was like, oh, you know, my friend is really skinny and she has abs, I want to be really skinny and have abs. Oh, my friend's like really pull a lot of guys, and like guys are always wanting to talk to her, I want that too.
Yeah.
I think it was mostly that, just because intellectually I was good, so I was never like, oh, I need to be top of my class. I was like, I know I'm like smart and I'm fine with where I'm at. I don't care about being number one.
Yeah.
And athletically, I was not an athlete, so there was nothing there.
Right. No, I get that too. Yeah, I think everything just I saw in a through a competitive lens. I think that was my upbringing.
But
too,
I think
though.
that's
like,
also like, yeah, your upbringing, but also you are an athlete, so I feel like that almost
Yeah,
you would
it
think.
heightens it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you need to win.
Right. And then you leave college and I was an athlete through college. Then you get out of college and then you're not an athlete anymore. And then it doesn't matter. And that's where I sit in the abyss of it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
anymore.
matter, yeah.
So it is so strange morphing into yourself. And another thing that like has changed so much over time, my body. I was going back. Like I said, I had made a little post of my friend and I. It was a side-by-side of us in a winter.
I think I saw it on your story.
Yeah, it was like a winter dance. It was our snowball, they called it. And her wedding. And it was like, okay, we don't look that different.
Right.
But I have morphed. One of the things I don't like was my arms in the picture. So we're going to focus on those.
Arms now.
Oh, God. I'm like, I don't know. Don't ever squeeze your arm against your body in a picture. Yeah. Put it out.
That's what I've learned too.
I didn't do that in the picture. Anyways, but I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh my God. I remember looking at my body in high school and hating it.
Yes.
And it's a freaking stick. I was thin. I was in sports. I did track. I did field hockey. And like year round, I was moving with just those two. And still, at that point in time, I looked at myself and didn't like what I saw. Well,
that's crazy.
She had a big storm coming because she actually put on some weight then at some points. Like, it's like, imagine, you know, I mean, not heavy at all, but like, well, I went to college and I put on a lot more muscle than I had because then I was a collegiate athlete.
Right.
Season really doesn't end. Shout out Coach K, my strength coach. Love her.
Well, yeah, you guys will have to do like workouts throughout the year and all of that. Yeah.
We're weightlifting, we're running, we're training, like we're doing everything. So my body became its strongest.
Yes.
Okay. Still hated it in the moment. If I could go back in time to any point in time with my body, that's the time I want to go back to. But then, then you leave. Then COVID, soften. You soften,
COVID did not help.
So there's like, okay, there's the phases of life internally, but then there's the external. And there's more to come. Like, oh, God.
I did the same exact thing. I go to pictures and I remember taking the picture being like, oh, if only I had the little like side ab lines. I wish I had those. And I'm like, why did I even care about that? I was so thin already.
Yeah.
And I remember, oh my gosh, I think this was still high school. I had like a group of friends and one of them was just always in such great shape. And like she had defined abs. And I was like, oh, I really wish I could just have like a toned midsection, like, abs. I forget who the influencers were back then, but oh God, the like Australian girl with the bikini body. I forget. Michaela, it seems or something. I don't know. I forget. But I remember what frustrated me so much was like, I would have to lose so much weight to be able to see like any definition. And I was like, it's not fair because I feel like I'm already side profile. I feel like I'm already smaller. Right. But she's so much more defined than I am. Like, how can I possibly lose more weight? Like, I don't know.
Cutting.
But I need to do it. And it's just crazy. Like those, again, that was like the thinnest I've been my whole life, I think. And it's just like the body dysmorphia is crazy.
And it's so, I saw a video the other day. It was just on my For You page, but it was a girl's engagement shoot. She had taken the photos from her engagement shoot, and it was close-ups of just the things she had, just like about herself. Right. She was like, imagine the years of brainwashing that went into looking at these photos and seeing this, and it was like lines on her neck, and then another one was like something on her finger, and then she zooms out, and the pictures are gorgeous, like absolutely beautiful, but she, like we do,
right,
saw the things she liked least about herself, and they were amplified in her mind. And like, I mean, I don't know, social media, Instagram came about when I was in high school. I don't know exactly what year, but that's really like, I mean, there's always been your reality TV, your influencer,
like the makeup, whatever,
Kardashians for how long, right? Like the unrealistic beauty standard, but the access to that opened up in high school. So like at a really vulnerable time, and I don't think it was too far for you either.
No, I think it was around the same time.
Yeah.
Because you started having filters on Instagram.
Right.
Like, I don't know when the Face Tune app came out, but that was huge.
I'm guilty of whitening my teeth a lot on it. I didn't change my body shape, but I changed my face.
I actually didn't post this picture, but I once uploaded a Facetune and like made myself skinnier, and I was like, I'm gonna save this picture so I look at it as inspiration of what I could look like.
Draw little abs on it.
Oh, but yeah. Access to it really all began. Well, yeah, Instagram with their filters, Snapchat with filters,
Tumblr.
Oh my God, don't get me
What's
started.
Acacia? Do you know Acacia Brindley?
I think it sounds familiar.
She was like one, and you look back and you're like, oh my God, like that's so funny that everybody wanted to look like this one person, but like she was one of them that you looked at and were like, damn it, I need to look like that. I need to swoop my hair to the side and have thick eyeliner and go like this in the camera, and it's gonna be so cute. Like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm. I fell deep into Thinspo on Tumblr. I don't know if you ever went through that. Oh God. This was before they started doing their like smart filtering and like getting rid of things that you shouldn't be seeing. So Thinspo was basically thin inspiration, but like eating disorder-ish. So it was like nothing tastes as good as skinny, or like pictures of people who were like super thin, and this was all like, oh, this is just inspiration to get in shape. But really it was like enabling people who had like body dysmorphia, self-image issues. So yeah, I think now if you go on Tumblr and you look that up, it probably won't let you filter or like pick it, and it filters it out.
I haven't been on there in so long. I remember trying to make myself relatable so many times. Do you know that account? It was like just girly things.
Yes.
And it was like number blah blah blah, and it was always so relatable. I didn't know how they understood me that well.
Yes.
I can't tell you. I don't know the name of the account I made. I've tried so many times to go viral as like younger.
In any way.
But I like tried to do an account like that where it wasn't my face, it was just color and words. And it's like kind of embarrassing. I don't really know what I want to tell you, but I tried to like, I was eating Skittles one day.
Skittles?
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, I'm actually so embarrassed. I was like, okay. I like feel myself fledging. It's really not that bad. Okay. So I'm eating Skittles. I'm like, wow, these are so good. And I like I feel myself getting like phlegmy. Okay.
Now I'm like during the Skittles.
No, during the Skittles. And I'm like, that's it. That's what's gonna I'm just gonna be so relatable right now. So I go on my computer. I make a post. I edited it with Skittles on the back of it. I said, Skittles make me phlegmy. I posted it to Tumblr. Thinking I'm about to blow up. Nothing ever came out of it. But
did you get anything on it?
No. I deleted the account, but I just oh my God. There's so many times
so funny.
I look back and I'm like, why? Like, there's so many times I stopped myself from putting things on the internet. That time I did not.
You're like unfiltered.
It didn't hit. It didn't. And they don't really make me like that. Phlegmy all the time.
You're just so inspired by the phlegm.
I was like, this is how they do it. Like, it just comes to them in the moment. Oh my God, it's so bad. So bad. That was my one original thought, and didn't it? It didn't. Oh my God.
That was a good story.
Thank you.
Yeah. Phlegm.
Oh man. I have so many stories too, like of just embarrassing moments and just random things like
I think if you go back to my Instagram archives.
Oh yeah.
I tried to be so artsy with the filters back in the day when it was like brand new. I have a picture of my then hamster. I forget what its name was.
Insert photo here.
And it was a really close up. It was a really close up picture of the hamster holding some lettuce. And I like had this meaningful caption on it. And I put a filter on it. And then I put a border around it. We'll put the picture up. I forget. That hamster may have been named like Sprinkles or something. So,
I want to know the quote you put under that hamster.
I don't know. The next picture was like a fortune filter border.
Heavy filter.
Yeah. Grainy.
Oh, man.
Okay. What about college?
Like, what would I change?
Yes.
Going back to I think it's similar to high school, but significantly less. I think moving into college, I was like, all right, here's the mistakes I made.
Right.
Boom. She's changed. She's wonderful.
She doesn't need as much.
I would
refinement.
still heavy on the no dating. Like, maybe even double down. If we were going to date, maybe just leave the high school in there and don't leave the college. That was just a dumpster fire.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I thought I was doing so much better than the next. And anyways, but I did meet Anthony in college. So that, you know.
Okay, so that worked out.
Once again,
Here we
I
are.
wouldn't actually change anything. Right, it wouldn't
right.
be. But, and same with the friendships. I mean, I think college was difficult because I came in as an athlete and I went to a small college too. So it was very cliquey to begin with. So that was my group. And
Yes.
moving forward, that was really pretty much my only friends. I mean, when I went in, I kid you not, when I started my freshman year, I was one of 3 people in my program for education. So my classes were 3 people, me and 2 other girls.
Like your class.
Yeah,
Like
and
you
out
would
of-
go into a classroom and there were 3 people.
Yes. And
Wow.
out of us 3, I was the only one to graduate with that degree. So like at some point they had
Really?
changed their direction a little bit or went to another school or things like that. And other people had come in. Wasn't just
It
alone
was
in a room.
interesting.
But I didn't have like a crazy amount of options. I also went to a women's college, so
I feel like that's interesting.
yeah, yes.
Would
and
you
no.
recommend?
Depends what you're going for. I think it was great academic wise. And you know what? I said heavy on the no dating, and I still had a lot of access to dating. So a lot of people, when I was going, were like, well, you're not going to meet any guys and this and that. And that they would always pick on
Yes.
like us for that too. And don't worry, you find people.
People
you
are
find
there.
plenty of people. But yeah, I mean, I think it was great for the fact that I got a lot of leadership experience. I worked so many jobs. I got exposure to a lot of schools around me really early on because my department was so small. Like,
Yeah.
they knew what kind of person
exactly.
they were putting out into the world. So there were a lot of benefits. Academic and professional outweighed them all. I mean, I didn't expect to play a sport in college either, so that was a perk too. I mean, it was D3.
That's
I was
fun.
not fantastic, but it was good. But yeah, it was very, trying to cycle back here. Very niche kind of group of people that I was around. I mean, had a lot of options outside of my clique, but you know, you don't have too much in common then if you pigeonhole yourself to this is what I do, this is who I am. So I don't know, like I probably, if I could have changed anything, would have branched out more. But then also put time into maintaining those relationships once we came out of sports and once we graduated. It was really hard for us, especially too. Senior year was 2019 into 2020. So we got sent home.
That's like the worst because that's graduation.
We
and
got
stuff.
sent home halfway through actually more than halfway through my second semester of my senior year. So we didn't spend the whole senior
Like
year
the
together.
wrap
And
up of college, basically.
Yeah.
Did you have to leave all your stuff in the dorms and just go home?
I
Or-
think they did. So what was different with me than all of my friends was I was in student teaching at that point. So I didn't even have classes anymore. I
Got
woke
it.
up every day, went to a school, taught kids, came home, went to bed. So I actually moved back to my parents' house by that point because I was like, I'm not even on sports have ended for me.
Right.
They were fall. I have no reason to be there. I have to be there one night a week. I'm not living here. I'm not paying to live here. I'm not paying, whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
So I had moved home January. Little did I know everybody was going to be sent home.
A few months later.
Yeah. So it was like a really abrupt ending. And then, we talked about it before, but the uncertainty of how long it was going to be, like everybody was kind of home. And I don't know. I
started
didn't
off
maintain
with the 2 weeks, right? It was like we're staying home for 2 weeks and that's it.
Yeah.
It turned into months.
Yeah. Almost. Well, at least. Yeah. I mean, it took different forms. But
Yeah.
well over a year before it was back to normal. But yeah, so I probably would have just, if I could change one thing from that, put more time into maintaining the connections I made. Because a lot of them are really great. And I have some today. 2 of my bridesmaids.
Yeah.
trying not to say names on the podcast just because like
I know,
they
it's
didn't
tough.
sign up for this, but almost shouted you out. But yeah, like I did okay. The people I maintain a connection with are very much like myself, where we can go a long time
Yes.
without talking. And for me, it's more object permanence. Like if you're not around, like not that you don't exist. That sounds really harsh, but I don't know. Like
I think there is some truth to that though, because I mean, I have some friends where I haven't seen them in years.
yeah,
I don't like multiple, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years.
mm-hmm.
And it's just because we're so far apart that it's like, it's tough to keep up with.
yeah.
Yeah.
College for you? Any major things that are different that you would change, or things that you think about looking back?
You know, this is going to sound pretty ridiculous. So I think the biggest thing I would do is actually get out of my comfort zone more and explore more and be willing to stumble through making new friendships.
Yeah.
I think that was my biggest thing, was like I didn't know how to make friends, and I'm also kind of shy / introverted / quiet. So I was like, I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I did biomedical engineering. So it was like I felt really intimidated because I thought I was surrounded by all of these super smart people.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't want to, I feel dumb compared to you people that I see all the time. So I feel kind of, I guess, like self-ostracized in a way. I was like, I don't feel like I really mesh with you guys. You guys are way too smart for me. And everybody else, I'm like, I'm too much of a nerd for.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just getting out of that mindset in my head would have helped me. I think that's the biggest piece. And I mean, I think in retrospect, would have liked to go out more and like go to parties more
No,
and
I don't
like
disagree.
do all of that more. I don't know. It was part of doing the major. I think I was interested in science, and like I'm still interested in science.
Mm-hmm.
But when I picked my major, I was like, well, I don't want to do bio, even though that's what's most interesting to me,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to do research. And I feel like if you do bio, you kind of set yourself up for that, or to go to medical school, which I also didn't want to do,
Yeah.
or like you're going to go to grad school and be a professor, also path I didn't want. So I was like, okay, if I mix science with something else, maybe this will make me, or like give me a job that's easier to pick up right out of college, which it did. But it was at the expense of like actually enjoying my college experience, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So sure, I got a job out of college, but I didn't go to parties. I felt miserable. I was depressed like junior and senior year, but I was like, it's too late to change my major now. I'd rather just finish it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Making more friends, going to more parties.
Yeah. Putting yourself out there.
Yeah. I think I have one friendship that made it through college. Like one genuine friendship. I could say two, but the second one, we actually went to the same high school. So
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So with this kind of like, it's funny because we're really taking a trip down memory lane today.
Mm-hmm.
With this like kind of constant evolution of like who we are, whether that's physically, whether that's internally, like, do you have any background on like any of the science behind it? Like I know we kind of talked about our bodies, right? And
Right.
as you age, the shifts and things, but like I know you were big on cortisol and things like that, and obviously as we enter adulthood, like yes, it slows down, but also I feel like stressors are a lot larger.
Yeah.
So like what is, I don't know, let's talk about like the ties with that.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, and actually in terms of, we can kind of take it two ways, like the mind, like spiritual piece of it and how it actually influences your nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can also talk about just like the physical consequences of everything. But for example, I have recently kind of gone through like a big life change, you could say. And I guess you could say it was a decision I made that essentially was saying like, thank you, past version of myself, like thanks for what you've done, you're like, you can rest now. And in doing that and like stepping into the next version of yourself, I'm sure this happens to people on multiple levels, and it doesn't have to be traumatic to experience it. But when you do start to step into that new version of yourself, in my case, the previous version of myself dealt with so much stress constantly that when I let that go, I actually almost feel like, ironically, I was sad about it, which is counterintuitive. You'd be like, oh, you let go of the stress. Like, shouldn't you be happy?
Yeah.
And I think that goes into the mind, like, spiritual piece of it. It's like you feel sad because that version of you is dying, I guess, for a lack of a better word. You could be sad because you put up with that for so long, like you allowed that continue for so long and you put your body through that. You can be sad because of the uncertainty that lies ahead. So there's like that emotional component of it. And then in terms of your hormones, for example, you could even, like, when you're going through a very stressful time, what's your body going to prioritize? You know, it's going to prioritize anything that keeps you going because it's like, oh, I'm stressed out. I need to just make it through. I need to just make it through. So things that you may not have realized were going on underneath the surface when you were stressed out start to now appear when you're not stressed out.
Okay.
Because your body can finally calm down.
Enough
it doesn't
to
have as
make
much.
time and
Yeah,
recognize.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the cortisol, for example, was really high maybe back in like the previous version of you. And now that you've calmed down, you're letting your body rest and the cortisol is going down. But what people don't realize is, okay, cortisol, everybody talks about cortisol as your stress hormone. Everybody says if you have high cortisol, you have moon face, you have inflammation, weight loss is difficult, blah, blah, blah. Everybody makes cortisol out to be like this bad thing.
Yeah.
But what people don't realize is cortisol is still essential for daily life. Like, it helps you wake up in the morning. You have a cortisol spike in the morning so that you do wake up and like you start getting the energy, getting the glucose you need for it.
To productive,
Yeah,
like
exactly. So it's necessary. The issue really happens when you're in a chronic stress state for too long.
Okay.
Because it has side effects, or it's not even a side effect. It's intended function. But things like increasing your blood sugar happens with high cortisol. Why? Because when you let your body like release blood sugar into your bloodstream, it can use it as energy. Which, if this was an actual like life or death scenario, you would need that energy.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's bad for us now because we are stressed for so long.
Right.
And we're dealing with the natural effects of cortisol. However, the other thing I wanted to point out is cortisol is also anti-inflammatory and kind of like a painkiller. Something people don't really talk about.
Yeah.
So when you're super stressed out, it's possible that you don't even realize some of the underlying issues going on.
Okay.
So when I made my switch and made life changes, you could say, my body like shut down because it was like, I can rest now. Like, we can let go of this heightened state. Like, okay, cool. We're going to let it go. But that gave space for everything else to come up and be like, oh yeah, this is the stuff you never dealt with. Like, now that you're resting, here you go.
Yeah.
Huh. So I don't know. Have you ever been in a situation where it's like you've been really stressed out? The stressor ends and you're just like exhausted, or like you get migraines, headaches, things like that.
Biggest thing for me is they say, like, you know, when you're stressed, you're more prone to get sick. Like,
Yes.
I don't get sick while I'm stressed, but as soon as whatever I was building up to ends, instant cold.
Yes.
It happens all the time, especially with work, because in schools, I mean, you have seasons of stress, like everything's cyclical. So there's times where I'm just really like, report cards are due, I have to meet with parents. Like, all of this stuff is happening and my stress levels are so high, but I'm just like grinding it out, just doing what I have to do. Where the minute I finish all those things, I am like instantly bedridden. Like,
Yes.
flu. So yeah, I it makes sense. Like, when you were talking, I was thinking more physical, like even injuries like would appear more. But I know for me, it's just my immune system. Like, it was working so hard to try to help me get through what I needed to get through. Now that I'm done, it's like, all right, recover, figure it out.
Yes.
You're now, you're resting. You have to make up for
everything
kind of what
else.
you just did to
Well, that's
yourself.
what cortisol does. It like helps you push through things. And it's great in the moment, but if you don't take rest between those periods, you're gonna get one of those situations where it's like, well, now you're exhausted, you're fatigued, you're sick, you get headaches, etc. Like for me, I think I am just now finally getting past this point. I was so tired, like so fatigued. Like I'd be sleeping 9-10 hours each night. And I would still wake up and I was like, I'm still tired.
Yeah.
But it was just my body finally recovering from everything. I had like skin issues for a little bit too, because it was just like, my body was like, what?
Yeah.
And I think too, it goes to show that at some point, when you step into like this new version of you, there's like, I don't even know how to say it, but like there is, of course, like the relief that this new thing is happening, and you are dealing with some of the repercussions of like what you allowed to continue for so long. But I guess it's just part of the process, really. And it's a good way to also reflect back and be like, oh, I didn't take care of myself. Okay, I need to take that lesson moving forward. So, but yeah.
And how awesome is it that we get to think about this stuff now?
Yeah.
And we haven't even entered like full on. I mean, we're adults, but like full on adulthood. Like, I'm thinking specifically like when I have children, like the stresses that are going to come with now. Like I am a worrywart as is. My anxiety spikes all the time over the silliest things. And Anthony makes fun of me all the time. But like, imagine, you know, if you choose to bring another life into the world, you're worrying for yourself and them, and you can't even control what's happening to them to a certain degree. Like, yes, you can. But also, yeah, so just like, it's nice to be reflective now.
Yes.
To have the background knowledge in that. And like, you know, do as I say, not as I do, right? We can preach health and wellness and don't stress about, like, we're still both going to stress about it whenever something happens, but at least like having awareness that we didn't have before might help.
Yes, exactly.
To some degree.
And even like, yes, like having kids, that phase of life, even thinking about like menopause too, like,
oh God, I don't even.
That is kind of crazy, but I think about that regularly. I'm not even 30.
That is your, what is it called? Oh, what's it called?
What?
Roman Empire is menopause.
Not even 30, and I'm like, when I'm menopausal.
Yeah. Oh God.
No, but yeah, I see, like, especially now, that's why I'm like, I need to strength train. Like, I need to strength train because I want menopause to go well for me.
Right.
Like, I don't know how many years from now, but.
Well, I even saw, now it was a video, they used AI to create images, but they gave them a prompt. They said like, 30-year-old man who doesn't work out regularly, moderate amount of stress, blah, 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 made a portrait of them. But then they took away like they said, so many minutes of exercise a week, healthy home, whatever. Like they changed the factors, right? Yeah. And they did it for men and women. And now it's AI. So like take it with a grain of salt. But like the images for those that were healthy from the start, like they look like completely different people.
Yeah.
And you talk about like the puffiness and like, but the higher the stress, the less the activity, like physical activity, more wrinkles,
more
like gravity
droopy.
Looks like it's taken a greater toll on them. And, you know, and I don't think that's necessarily too far off. I mean, you see the people who have lived a healthy lifestyle, how they look as they age, and, you know, you want
versus
that.
Other people who do the opposite, and you also start to notice things there.
Right.
Like,
so it's hard because like you're working out now for yourself in this moment, but you're also like a good thing to remind yourself is like you're also working out for that person. Like you're trying to live and live long and healthy and well, and not just like have abs. Which
exactly.
we get hung up on like.
Yeah, today
a certain muscle.
I want
like,
abs.
Yeah.
And a big butt or whatever. But yeah, I think it's like, it goes back to just taking care of yourself and almost like feeding yourself in a way, or like, you know, nourishing your body without actually being able to see that long term, because you just have to have faith in what you're doing now will have benefits for your future. But obviously it's tough to be like, oh, I need to work out and I need to do this, and when you don't see the results immediately.
Yeah.
That's what makes it tough long term. But
Well, and I think that's where people fall apart in the consistency sake.
yes,
Like, we can 30 days to build a habit, whatever, but like 2 weeks in, if I still don't see anything, I'm like,
yeah,
it's not
is
even
it
worth
worth
it.
it?
It's really not. Like, and then try something new.
Yeah,
And that's why you never see results, because
exactly.
giving up too soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the last thing that I forgot to mention earlier was when you do step into these new versions of yourself, I think that once you feel that shift, you'll probably go through an experience of first being like kind of scared because it's uncertain. You've never been in this territory before.
Mm-hmm.
But then you actually also like start to feel safe in your body again. And I think that's, at the end of the day, what we strive to do is just feel safe in our bodies. So all the hormones do their thing, your gut does its thing, your nervous system is relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that looping it all back to reality TV is
Throwback.
yeah, throwback to the last episode. All the way back to reality TV is like having your health and like being in a regulated state and in a state where you feel safe and like almost like you self-trust yourself, like you have trust in yourself that you're taking care of yourself and all of that will help you be a better person and emotionally intelligent and not exploding at people for no reason. And that will trickle on into generations.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Putting in work for people you don't even know exist yet.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what we do. We go to therapy for the people that should have gone before us. But yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Anything else popping out at you from whether it's high school, college?
I probably have
Identity
so many
shifts.
stories. I think we'll try to
We
sprinkle
can
them
do
in
'em
as
in,
we
yeah.
go. But yeah, I don't know. It's just it's fun to look back with someone that gets it and kind of talk about where you were, where you are. Flashback on when you're phlegmy.
I really, just the times that you really felt inspired in the
Thought
moment.
something was gonna happen for you and didn't. And life just goes in so many different ways, which is crazy. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's neat to think about and to think about. We've had 20-some years of life, and we have hopefully
Another
double
many
that,
more.
if
Yeah.
not more. We hope. Yeah, but like there's so much more to come. So
Yeah. We'll just keep learning,
learning, growing, making
sharing.
mistakes.
Yeah. Keeping
Yeah.
it fun.
So this is technically episode 2.
Yes.
A little reading for you today.
Ooh, yeah.
Angel number 2. Now, when I was doing my research on this one, a lot of explanations or readings for the number 2 tie in with it and it's repeating. So like 222, 222, so on. So a lot of these concepts will kind of cycle through more than once. But number 2 represents duality, partnership, and cooperation. It emphasizes the importance of balance in your life, whether in relationships or personal endeavors. And it reminds you to find equilibrium in your life. So managing work-life balance and cultivating inner peace, which once again, prevalent with the topic.
Yeah.
And just kind of where we're at in life is just
seeking balance, figuring it out.
Yeah. So we're somewhere between that past self and that current self where our
as we continue
little orb
evolving.
of myself is like floating around in there, But yeah.
Sweet. All right.
All right.
Wraps
Well,
it up.
that's that on past versions of yourself.
We'll see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.
Yay.